Let's talk about my experience booking our Tokyo Disney vacation. I went in spring of 2025 with my family of four. I had two adults and two small children, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I've already talked about our Japan trip in general in my other videos. So I'm not going to talk about the difficulties of having a 6 and a 4-year-old on an international flight and then navigating Tokyo. Luckily, we speak Japanese, not like great, but good enough. But anyway, so planning our Tokyo Disney family vacation. You really need to be planning this at least 6 months in advance. So when we went, it was April, and we were lucky that our spring break was 1 week after the Japanese school spring vacation. So, not very many Japanese families were there during the weekday. However, in April 2025 is when Tokyo DisneySea just started allowing the public to enter Fantasy Springs. So you could just go in and get in a standby line. Before that, you needed to buy a vacation package or buy a Disney Premier Access, the DPA pass. The DPA pass is basically the Tokyo Disney version of the Lightning Lane or the Fast Pass. So basically, on the weekends or during the school breaks, everyone was trying to get into Fantasy Springs. So, what we did around 6 months ahead of time is I booked a vacation package. And a vacation package is exactly what it sounds. It comes with your hotel stay, it comes with your park entrance tickets, it comes with a bunch of other stuff. And there are different vacation packages, and you can choose from the different hotels in the Tokyo Disney Resort. The vacation packages change by season. So you have to go onto the Tokyo Disney website and see what packages are offered during your trip. They open for booking around 6 months before the package starts. And so they're constantly changing out their packages. You just have to go and check their website. So before Tokyo DisneySea announced that they were going to open Fantasy Springs to the public, I was already like, for sure, we're going to get a vacation package. Then they announced that they're opening it, and I was on the fence. But the thing is, once they opened Fantasy Springs to the public, those standby lines for the new rides, especially the Frozen ride, I saw at one point got to like 5 hours long. We have a 6 and a 4-year-old. There's no way we're going to be standing in line for 5 hours. On top of that, what you could do instead of buying the vacation package, if you don't want to wait in the standby line, is you can buy the DPA, or which is their Lightning Lane or Fast Pass. However, you cannot purchase that until you get into the park. And what that means, because they sell out of them, is that you have to be in the park very early. Some families or some people are lining up at 3 a.m. to get into DisneySea. Again, I am not going to line up at 3 a.m. I'm not going to have my 6 and 4-year-old line up at 3 a.m. So in the end, we got a vacation package. The vacation package itself was not a terrible deal. I would say relative to the American Disneys, it was still a really great price, especially with the favorable exchange rate. So anyway, our plan, we got, I think it was called the Attractions and More vacation package. At the time, there was also one called Unlimited Attractions. And I feel like that was more for adults and older families, not little kids, because it's basically you can ride all the rides as much as you want. But my kids couldn't even go on many of the rides because of the height restriction. So anyway, the Unlimited Attractions vacation package sold out pretty quick. The Attractions and More, I don't think it sold out as quickly. Certain hotels did sell out faster. So I think the Fantasy Springs Hotel sold out fast. Let's say you did not get the vacation package. Another way to get into the park early without lining up at 3 a.m. was to book the Fantasy Springs or one of the other hotels that gives you early entrance into Tokyo DisneySea. Not every hotel in the Tokyo Disney Resort gives you early entrance to Tokyo DisneySea. And the early entrance is really only 15 minutes. So the sole purpose of it is really just to book those passes. But anyway, we ended up not choosing Fantasy Springs because it was a very expensive hotel. And we decided instead, also the hotel bookings come out later than the vacation package. So if you wait and you don't get the vacation package because you're hoping that you can get the Fantasy Springs Hotel, it's a little bit of a gamble because maybe you don't get the Fantasy Springs Hotel when you're trying to book because you're too slow. Then you're just out. Anyway, but we booked the vacation package and we booked it at the Toy Story Hotel. And the way the package worked was you go to your first day of attraction. So our first day was Disneyland, and then overnight at Toy Story Hotel. The next day, DisneySea. And just because of the way our trip worked, we ended up doing the Tokyo Disney days the last 2 days of our trip and going straight from DisneySea to Haneda Airport. So, knowing that, I decided to book an extra night at Toy Story Hotel the night before. Again, with small kids and with the whole luggage situation, I didn't want to rush to Disneyland super early in the morning. I wanted to already be there. So we booked Toy Story Hotel one night before. We checked in at 3 p.m. and we also bought the weeknight passport. So this is basically a late entry ticket. It was so great. So we bought this to DisneySea. I think with the exchange rate, it was around $30 per person. Totally worth it. So we checked into the Toy Story Hotel around 3. We just picked up, there was a konbini in the hotel. So we picked up something to eat for dinner. Then we went into DisneySea at 5 p.m. No lines to get in security, of course, because it's 5 p.m. Right when we got there, we basically just went to the Little Mermaid area because we have small kids. Again, I've said this like a million times. I'm sorry. So we went straight to the Little Mermaid area, and it was a great chance because the lines there were super short, maybe only like 10, 15 minutes. So they got to ride all the rides they wanted there. And then we went back out towards the volcano area to watch the Believe Sea of Dreams show, which we knew we were going to miss because we were heading to the airport on our DisneySea day on Saturday. So this was our chance to basically see all the nighttime stuff at DisneySea. And it was great. And so we went back to the hotel. The next day was our Disneyland day. And because we stayed at the Toy Story Hotel, we got the early entrance to Disneyland. So I forgot to mention, so you get all of your vacation package stuff when you check into the hotel. So even if you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to rush really early in the morning to the park the first day, you need to stop at the hotel first to pick up your tickets. Everything is paper tickets. But then you should load it onto the app because everything in the park really uses apps to reserve. Anyway, so we have our early entrance tickets to Disneyland. We got there and the lines were pretty short. We did get there pretty early. I would say I think we got there at like 7:45, which was an hour before they let us in at 8:45, and the park opens at 9. So we get in, and the first thing I do when we get into the park is I start trying to book things on the app. So one tip is definitely book your food early so that you can set your return time even or way early in the morning. Right when you get in, go ahead and order your lunch and just set your return time for later. All of our DPA passes that came with our vacation package was already loaded onto the app. So it was great because I could see our itinerary and what time we had to go everywhere. The second thing that I booked right away was I looked for at the time they were still doing the 70th anniversary passes. So those are basically free DPAs or free lightning lane passes. So as part of our vacation package, we chose the Beauty and the Beast ride DPA. We got 3 passes with our vacation package. 2 of the passes we used on Beauty and the Beast, and 1 of the passes we used on the Happy Baymax ride. Unfortunately, Pooh's Honey Hunt was closed when we went, so we could not use a pass on that. But right when I got in, I booked us using the free 70th anniversary pass. I got us the Monsters Inc. ride. So I booked the Monsters Inc. ride right away. I booked our meal, and I booked us a time to go shopping. So this is a major difference between the Tokyo Disney Resort and especially Disneyland in California, which is what I'm used to, is that for some of the shops, you need to book a standby pass and it gives you a return time to come back. It's free, but sometimes the passes will sell out on crowded days. On not crowded days, they don't even check your pass. So on the day that we went, it was Friday, and Disneyland was like empty. So I booked all those passes right away just in case, but I really didn't need to. There were basically no lines anywhere for food or anything, which was great. So we went in, and they still made us wait until 9 a.m. to actually go on the ride. So really it was just for lining up and getting those passes in. So 9 a.m. we went straight to Fantasyland because, the kids. But there was no one else on the rides with us. We just walked right on. We did Small World, we did Teacups, Snow White, basically everything. It was so great and fun. Then, because there were no lines, we got a few rides in basically right at 9. Then we went to Monsters Inc. to use our 70th anniversary pass. So we did Monsters Inc. Then it was time to use our 2 passes for Beauty and the Beast. So we did Beauty and the Beast twice. Then we did our Happy Baymax ride, and we got lunch at the Tomorrowland Terrace, which is right next to the Baymax ride. So that was basically our whole morning at Disneyland. And then in the afternoon, we really didn't have anything else we were dying to do. Those were all the things we really wanted. We did not get a pass for Mickey's Jamboree, which is the one thing that I was sad about, besides Pooh's Honey Hunt being closed. That one also needed a standby pass, and I just couldn't get it. It was all gone. But we did do Mickey's Philharmonic, which was fun. The Donald Duck's Quacky Celebration also had just started at Tokyo Disneyland at the time. And I think the parade was at 3 p.m. and we started sitting down around 2:20, and that's when other people were starting to get ready for the parade too. So we did that. It was great. We sat right on like the main street. I'm still using California terms, but we got right on the curb. Basically, we saw the parade. It was so wonderful and great. And then after that, we did Jungle Cruise. We did the Tiki Room, which I heard might be closing if they renovate that Adventureland. So I'm glad we did it because I think both of those are better than the California version. Hot take. And we did the Western Railroad. And then after that, we went back to Fantasyland. We went to the Queen of Hearts banquet for dinner, which I heard is very popular and can get super crazy during meal times. But we went at like 5, and again, nobody in line. So we just walked right up, and it was great. I would say the food was just okay. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it was about the same as the California Disneyland food. But the atmosphere was really fun. I loved the decor, and the kids loved it too. We were waiting for the Main Street Electrical Parade, which unfortunately got canceled because it was projected to rain. We squeezed in a few more Fantasyland rides because, again, there were no lines. Like the teacups had no lines, so we just kept going on. And then they replaced it with another parade called like Glow Up the Night or something. I don't know, but it was only 3 floats, so it was really short. So we just watched that parade at 7. Then we took the monorail back to the Toy Story Hotel, picked up more snacks at the little convenience inside, and we were able to see the fireworks from our room window, which was great. So that was full day 1. Overnight at Toy Story, and then the next morning, as part of our vacation package, we had breakfast at the Lotso Garden Cafe. And normally, I would say when we're doing a park day, we don't schedule a buffet breakfast first because we want to get to the parks early. But it was already part of our package, so I wasn't going to skip it. I booked our time to eat breakfast at 7 a.m. So it was still pretty early, and it was very crowded in there. I actually really enjoyed this breakfast. I thought the food was great and very, if you're coming from America, unique because it had a lot of Asian food, which of course I like for breakfast. And they had these little like push cart things so the kids could push their own trays around the buffet line. It was great. It's not a character dining experience, though, unfortunately. So we finished up our breakfast and we hopped on the monorail. Oh, we had to leave our luggage, of course, with guest services because that's the day we were checking out and going back to the airport to catch our flight back to America. So we left our luggage with guest services and we checked out. So we dropped our key card back into the slot. We got on the monorail, and now this was Saturday. So, we went to Disneyland on a weekday, but now we're at the weekend. And this is just how it happened. If I could have avoided it, I would have, but this is how it worked best for our trip. So we're going to DisneySea, and the lines were just so crazy. I can't remember what time we got there, but I think we got there maybe around 8:45. So right when the early entrance to DisneySea would have been starting, but we didn't have early entrance because we stayed at the Toy Story Hotel. So we were in the back of the line of security. And from 9 a.m., which is when they opened to the general public, took us literally. So, okay, our vacation package time, return time for our DPA to our first ride, which was the Frozen ride, was at 10 a.m. and we just made it at 10 a.m. Like we got to the Frozen ride exactly at 10 a.m. So basically, it took us an hour and 15 minutes to get through security and get to Fantasy Springs. So plan ahead. And if you're buying a vacation package that requires you to set a time for your DPAs, make sure you give yourself enough time in the morning to get there. We did the Frozen ride twice. Again, we had 3 passes, and I chose 2 of them to do the Frozen ride and 1 of them to do the Rapunzel ride. We did not do the Neverland ride because of the height requirement. And by the time we got into the park, because it was so late, the DPAs, a lot of them were gone. The 70th anniversary passes were gone. It was just like everything was gone. So, but again, same thing is that whilst we were walking to Fantasy Springs, I booked our lunch at the Snuggly Duckling. I would have booked it at the Arendelle Hall, but the food at the Snuggly Duckling was more stuff that the kids would eat. So what I did instead is I booked lunch at the Snuggly Duckling, and I booked just a dessert. Like I just ordered a cake at the Arendelle Hall because I just wanted to go inside. But you can't even go inside the restaurant unless you have the mobile order. They check your phone at the door to make sure that it's your time to pick up your food. So anyway, I'm glad I did that. I did those 2 bookings. For the 70th anniversary pass, I think I got us I got the Genie's Magic Lamp Show. And then the other stuff like Journey to the Center of the Earth. My kids couldn't even go on the Indiana Jones ride, so I didn't bother with that. And then we had already done the Little Mermaid stuff because we had come with our weeknight passport on the Thursday, which I'm glad we did because it saved us a lot of time on the Saturday from having to do those things. So we went straight to Fantasy Springs. We rode the Frozen ride, which was so beautiful. So, I mean, that's my new favorite ride. I thought at Disneyland that Beauty and the Beast, like everyone hyped it up, and I thought that was going to be my favorite ride, but Frozen was the best. I really love that ride. It was just great. Everything was great. So we did that twice, and I'm glad we did. We barely got to walk around the little Arendelle section, just to, like use the bathroom, but then we rushed to ride the Rapunzel ride, the Tangled ride, which everyone complains is very short. And I was a little surprised at how abruptly it ended right after the lantern scene because you didn't even see Mother Gothel. They didn't really go through the story. But the lantern room was gorgeous. Like it was so pretty. Everyone on the boat gasped. We were like, so it was great still. And I'm glad we did it. So we did that. We got our lunch at the Snuggly Duckling, which was great. The food was good, by the way. But I'm glad that we got our dessert at the Arendelle Hall just so I could see the inside because it was beautiful. It really reminded me of at Walt Disney World, the Be Our Guest. Is that what it's called? Where the Bell Castle where you can eat in there. It was that kind of level of decor. And I thought it was beautiful and it was lovely. So after that, we went to Agrabah and I don't know, maybe I should mention that I've been to Tokyo DisneySea before. So for me, it wasn't new, but it was for the rest of my family. And so we did some of the kiddie rides there, like the carousel, and we watched the Genie's Magic Lamp Show, which I really liked. And then I forgot to mention one of the things I also booked right away when entering the park was shopping because at DisneySea is the only place that you can buy Duffy and Friends merchandise. And at the time we went, it was Duffy's 20th anniversary. So they had all this Duffy special stuff. The monorail even had like Duffy fur seats. They had like redone the monorail. I love Duffy. So I really wanted to make sure I got some Duffy shopping in. Yeah, so I booked I think it's called the Galleria. I booked the Galleria, and again, they were super strict. Like they checked your phone, they scanned your pass to make sure that it was your time to go shopping, and the shops were packed. It was so crowded. Everyone buying Duffy stuff. I talked about this in my other video about buying souvenirs at the Tokyo Disney Resort, so you can go watch that one, but they do have Duffy stuff at other gift shops that you don't need passes for, but the big ones like the Galleria, you really do need that pass and they do check. And it does, like I checked around 2 p.m. and they were all gone already. So I couldn't even go to a different store that required a pass. I only had that one and that was the one I chose. So we went shopping for Duffy and friends. Oh, I should mention also early in Fantasy Springs, they do have the Fantasy Springs gift shop, which is connected to the Fantasy Springs Hotel. You can't go into the hotel unless you're a guest, but you can go into the gift shop. And the gift shop also had some Duffy and Friends merchandise, but just not like the huge variety that they had at the Galleria. So we went shopping at the Galleria around 2 p.m., went shopping at some of the other shops in the front too. There were some characters out doing meet and greets. And then it was time to head to the airport. So we went back to the Toy Story Hotel to pick up our luggage. Earlier, we had made a reservation for the airport limousine bus. So the airport limousine bus came, took all our luggage, we got on board, and we went straight to Haneda from there. It was super easy, highly recommend it. And then we got on our flight and came back home. And that was that. So, yeah, it was super fun. Our whole family loved it. We had a great time, even though it was super crazy and crowded at DisneySea. We all want to go back. I don't know if we'll make that happen, but it was beautiful and wonderful. I hope this video maybe helped you plan for your own Tokyo family Disney trip. It was honestly quite a bit of planning, but I'm glad we did it because if we hadn't done all that planning and all that research, and it was a little bit stressful, but we got to do everything that we wanted to do, especially thinking that this might be a once in a lifetime trip for our family. So yeah, go check out some of my other videos and I'll see you next time.